Here at the Greenbrier Village Mobile Home Park, this is the creek that came out of its banks and flooded this entire neighborhood.
Some of your clothing line has been made out of the country. How do you explain that to people who want to see things made here?
Students will be released early from school as the temperatures start to heat up. This morning, when students got here to Mifflin Middle School, they were given bottles of water. Custodians came in early to get those windows open.
There were 3 different houses affected by the fire here on South 22nd Street. The worst of it is what you can see right there in that middle house.
And Olivia, what are you doing? Oh, be careful.
Oh, boy. I'm just testing out all the toys here, you guys. I'm not going to lie. It's been a while since I've ridden a bike, so I'm not even going to stop on camera. I'm just going to keep going. But there's tons of toys here at the warehouse. I'm going to let LJ show you some of the other stuff here because I don't think I can stop. Just after 2 a.m. Saturday, Bryson Byer and Montage Sandu were walking down this alley, coming from a bar in the Short North and heading toward the Hubbard parking garage. When they got to this intersection, they say they were attacked. The leaderboard here at the Media Center shows the scores for all of the golfers from yesterday on the first day of official play.
I just got a screenshot of it from one of the runners. Pretty cool. They tracked it on their GPS and it spells the word thank you.
Making sure you're washing your hands frequently and thoroughly, using soap and water. If that's not an option, you can also use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer. The Houston Fire Department says it is searching flooded homes, checking, of course, for survivors and victims.
We've all walked and driven on that kind of snow, right? It's a mess. It's the freezing rain comes down and is essentially forming a crust on the snow. So when you look down at the snow here, you can actually kind of kick it away in sheets.
When they explained it to me, I told them, I said, I think you're nuts. What are you talking about?
His son was arrested for OVI, but he wasn't drinking. He's autistic. Tonight, the family is sharing their story to try to raise awareness about what happened.
2 families say their sons were charged with drunk driving after being pulled over in Dublin, but neither was under the influence. Instead, the families say the men failed the field sobriety test because they are autistic.
And one of those families is now speaking to Olivia Fecteau. It's a story you'll see only on NBC4.
On his way home from swim team practice, Richard Mazer was stopped by Dublin police just around the corner from his family's house. Richard Mazer has been driving for 7 years. At 29 years old, Richard is autistic, a Paralympic swimmer and involved in the community. But on October 19, 2015, his life changed.
I thought the worst. So when I ran down the driveway and saw the blue lights, you know, I freaked out. He was already arrested, handcuffed, and sitting in the back of the police van. Your worst nightmare.
Dublin police pulled Richard over for driving erratically and failing to use a turn signal. Officers gave Richard field sobriety tests, from hopping on one foot to walking in a straight line. His mother, Lauren, says they explained to police Richard can't complete those tasks because he's autistic.
It doesn't matter if you can't hop on one foot. You don't practice hopping on one foot. You don't practice walking a straight line, but you do practice driving a car.
Richard failed the sobriety test that night and was arrested for OVI. The charges were later dismissed after a urine sample came back negative, but the experience has been devastating.
He wouldn't drive at night. He wouldn't go to swim team. We severely cut back his hours from swimming because the mistake he made that night was he was tired and he forgot to turn his signal.
I went to the Dublin Police Department to ask about this traffic stop and one 5 months later involving another autistic man. Chief Heinz von Eckertsberg says field sobriety tests are designed to apply to anyone who can safely drive.
Intellectual disabilities don't really play a part in what we're looking for. We're looking for the person's ability to drive safely. Our officers felt that at the time, under the totality of the circumstances of what they saw, that those gentlemen were not safe to drive.
But Richard's family says they believe this was a wrongful arrest and say police officers need more training and education.
They have to think beyond a handicap plate on or a placard hanging from the mirror that identifies somebody as having a disability.
Charges have been dismissed for Richard as well as for the other family. Both families think Ohio should implement some sort of legal document or driver's license endorsement to indicate when drivers are on the autism spectrum. Nancy Collins says she first met Officer Randall Mayhew in 2015 while walking on the west side of Columbus on Sullivan Avenue near her home.
He pulled up on me talking about what am I doing out here? Is there any guys out here beating us up? And like he cared about us.
She says their relationship soon escalated from flirting to sex.
And he's like, get in. And I'm like, get in. So I got in the back of his cruiser. And then we went somewhere and parked and we had sex, and then he reaches me money through the cage.
She says she never asked him for the money.
I just thought he really liked me at first.
Nancy Collins is one of 3 women accusing Officer Mayhew of paying for sex, according to court records. Another woman said they engaged in sexual acts in the 3400 block of Valley View Drive. A third woman described an encounter in the 1600 block of West Mound Street. Mayhew's attorney, Mark Collins, says his client is innocent.
It's a situation in which he's an outstanding officer. He's worked on the West Side for a long time, and look forward to our day in court.
Mark Collins says it's been a difficult process for the 17-year veteran at the Columbus Division of Police.
To be the subject of news stories and things like that as an accused when your job is to protect and serve is always a difficult situation.
Inside the Mug and Brush barbershop, every customer has a story.
I ended up working basically 15 hours a day, 7 days a week for about a month and a half straight.
She works around like 50 hours a week and she's salary, and this would have really helped her pay off her student loans.
We have to hold the phone and we're on call for 24 hours at a time.
Under a new federal rule, salaried workers making up to $47,000 a year would have begun receiving overtime pay.
If you were anticipating a pay raise on December 1, that this would be a very disappointing turn of events.
But a federal court in Texas sheared away that possibility this week. The Ohio Chamber of Commerce calls it a victory.
You have 8, maybe 10 employees. You don't have that luxury. You don't have that flexibility.
Critics said the new rule could cause some employers to cut jobs.
One size does not fit all in the business community.
When you cut to the point,
being able to feel like you're making a living off of the amount of work that you do is really important.
Many people believe it's about treating workers fairly.
Some weeks it's a great deal for them because their salary might be based on 50 hours and they're only working 40, but for every one of them there's another person who's kind of being abused by the employer that they're working for.
Going the game tomorrow?
With hours to go, fans came from all over.
Where are you from?
To cheer on the Buckeyes.
Charlotte, North Carolina.
Loading up on gear.
$36.92. Just slide it through.
And looking the part.
You always have to have your Buckeye red to go to the game.
Ready to beat
Michigan.
The team up north.
Once again, it's our Michigan. Guess we can't put that on TV, I don't know.
Go north till you smell it and left till you step in it.
For some,
there's nothing like it. Pro football doesn't even compare.
This is a homecoming.
So you're back for the game.
For others, a new adventure.
You know, we're Jersey, we know family, but we adopt the family right here.
Hoping they'll be the good luck charm.
Just spread the luck all over.
To help the Buckeyes win. No matter the view,
you have good seats.
The excitement of game day.
That's all that matters, I guess.
Is most important.
Go Bucks!